There are moments when you pause for no reason. Moments when your heart flutters, your mind wanders to him, and your breath shortens. And for a second, you feel it. He's thinking of you too. Not in the obvious way, not in the way movies show. In a quiet, soul, deep frequency that hums beneath language. No, you're not imagining it. You're tapping into the timeless feminine gift. Emotional intelligence so sharp, it borders on the psychic. This isn't about romance. It's about resonance. When two minds think of each other at the same time, they enter a space Jung once described as the collective unconscious. A realm where symbols, archetypes, and emotions float freely between souls. But most women have been taught to doubt this knowing, to brush it off, to label their intuition as overthinking, and that is where the disconnect begins. You feel it first as a shift in the room. You're calm, centered, even distracted by something trivial. But then, without warning, the energy shifts. It's not anxiety, not joy, something else. Something electric. It washes over you like a ripple, but it's not yours. You didn't summon it. You didn't cause it. It arrived. This is often the first sign. A subtle current that passes through your emotional field like a wave from another shore. Carl Jung believed the psyche was not a sealed container. He saw it as a vessel dipped into the collective sea. So when someone, especially someone emotionally linked to you, begins thinking of you with intensity, you feel it in the water you share, and because the feminine psyche is tuned to feel before it understands, you know before you know. You dismiss it, until he texts, or calls, or shows up, and the moment clicks into place you were not alone in that thought. Then he begins to show up in dreams, not as himself, not always. Sometimes he's wearing another face. Sometimes he says nothing at all. Sometimes he arrives just before you wake. But he's there, and the feeling lingers into your day like perfume. This isn't just memory, it's mirror work. Two minds meeting in the unconscious, playing out what can't yet be said aloud. Dreams, Jung said, are messages from the soul. So when someone consistently appears, they may be more than a character. They may be a psychic participant. And if your soul is inviting him in, or if he is dreaming of you too, then the lines between you blur, and the dream becomes the meeting place. A space not bound by time, not governed by logic, but tethered only by emotional gravity. You wake from these dreams and feel full, or haunted, or warm, but above all, connected. He was with you. You don't need evidence. Your body already knows. And that's the next sign. You feel him in your body. You're doing something ordinary. Folding clothes, sipping coffee, walking down the street. And suddenly there's a flutter in your chest, a tightening in your gut, a warmth in your neck. He isn't near. You haven't spoken. But something inside you stirs like he just walked into the room. This is not memory. This is impact. Thoughts carry energy. And when someone thinks of you with emotional intensity, longing, desire, frustration, those thoughts become frequencies. Your body, attuned to him, responds. That's the nature of feminine intelligence. It speaks in sensation. It doesn't wait for logic to catch up. Most women override these moments. They numb. They scroll. They rationalize. But the magnetic woman, she feels. She trusts her body to tell her truths that language cannot. This feminine knowing is what gives rise to synchronicity. You reach for your phone, for no reason, and there he is, a missed call, his name glowing like a whisper fulfilled. There was no ping, no cue, just instinct. And you wonder, how did I know? Jung called this synchronicity, when two events align with deep meaning without causal connection. But meaning is the feminine's domain. You don't need science to explain what your spirit recognizes. It's not prediction. It's resonance. Your inner world responded to his before he made a move. And it happens again. You're washing dishes, walking the dog, half lost in your thoughts. And suddenly you find yourself speaking to him in your mind. As if he can hear you. As if your inner monologue was meant for him. You laugh. Or you cry. And still, The conversation continues in silence. This is not craziness. This is archetypal entanglement. The animus? Your inner masculine may take his form. Or perhaps your soul knows he's listening. When two people are emotionally magnetized to each other, their thoughts form bridges. Invisible, but real. And those bridges carry whispers, desires, apologies, cravings. You've likely felt it already. That strange peace that comes after you speak to him in your mind. As if he heard it. As if you sent something into the void, and it landed. And sometimes you feel more than words. You feel his mood. It arrives like smoke. Unseen, but suffocating. You're suddenly anxious, heavy, or sad. And there's no reason. But deep down, you know it's not yours. This is the psychic bleed. When someone you're connected to experiences a strong emotion, and your field is open, you may absorb it. It's not empathy. It's not imagination. It's entanglement. This is why Jung warned of projection. It fuses the self with the other. And if you've projected onto him, cast him as your mirror, your twin flame, your soulmate, then your emotional boundaries may not be clean. You're not only feeling your feelings, you're feeling his too. But here's the power: you can learn to hold your sovereignty. Feminine energy is not weakness. It is depth, and depth requires discernment. You can feel it without becoming it. You can sense it without drowning. You are the chalice, not the storm. So the next time you feel him inside your thoughts, your body, your dreams, pause. Don't panic. Don't chase. Don't run. Receive. Witness. Decode. This is your feminine gift. Presence that can hear what isn't spoken. Magnetism that needs no noise. And emotional intelligence that can read between souls. In part 2, we will dive deeper into the most undeniable signs. Those that defy coincidence and leave behind traces no logic can clean up. But for now, I ask you, which of these signs have you felt? Which one do you recognize as yours? And which will you now begin to trust? Let me know in the comments. Your truth may be the mirror another woman needs. You've felt it in your bones, in your breath, in the uncanny timing of his name floating into your life the moment you tried to forget him. Part 1 revealed what most women already suspect, but rarely articulating: that energy speaks before words, and emotion is a language both minds understand, even in silence. But now, we move deeper, past the gentle tugs, into the undeniable, into the sacred tension of mutual thought and mirrored desire. These signs aren't just felt, they leave fingerprints on your spirit. Sometimes, it starts with a silence so loud it echoes. He's not reaching out, but you can feel him holding back. There's a weight in the air, like breath held just beneath the surface. Not rejection, not absence, but restraint. You sense he's thinking of you, almost obsessively, but something within him refuses to act. Carl Jung taught that the shadow, those parts of ourselves we deny, suppress, or hide, often governs our behavior in ways we don't understand. So while his conscious mind resists, his shadow mind can't stop conjuring you. And that's where you feel it most. You'll feel it in the friction, the energy of something unsaid, the sense that he's closer in the silence than he ever was in the noise. When that tension is mutual, it becomes alchemical. You'll be at peace, and suddenly your thoughts are flooded with memories of his voice, his presence, the things he never said. He's not contacting you, but his soul is circling you. You may even see signs. His initials on license plates, songs from your shared moments. A stranger with his eyes. These aren't coincidences, they're symbols. Jung believed the unconscious speaks in symbols when the conscious mind refuses to listen. A magnetic woman knows that signs aren't meant to be chased. They're meant to be read. And every symbol is a doorway into deeper knowing. Then comes the craving for solitude. And here's where it becomes mysterious. You're both withdrawing. Not to escape each other, but to reflect each other. When two people are deeply connected psychically, emotional solitude becomes sacred. It's not isolation, it's preparation. It's the inner temple being swept clean for a sacred reunion. You'll find yourself pulling back from others even when you don't mean to. And if you're sensitive, you'll sense he is doing the same. Two mirrors turning inward at the same time. This isn't disconnection, it's synchronization. And then there's the electricity, the undeniable surge when your eyes meet, or even when you hear his name. The way your skin responds to the sound of his voice, even on a screen. The physical world tries to contain it, but it spills over. You could be across a room and still feel his gaze warming your lower belly. You could be miles apart and still feel his desire echo through your skin. Carl Jung believed that true connection was not merely emotional or intellectual. It was energetic. He called it the union of opposites. Your anima to his animus, your soul to his shadow, your yin to his yang. And when the polarity is strong enough, even distance cannot dilute the charge. This is why you feel him when you're laughing, when you're vulnerable, when you finally let your walls down. His thoughts reach for you not when you're trying to impress, but when you're real. Because authenticity is the soul's perfume. The deeper you drop into yourself, the more magnetic you become to those who have touched your essence. You're not chasing him, you're returning to you. And that, ironically, is when he feels you most. Finally, there's the moment of mirror awakening. The sacred pause when you realize you've both been doing the same thing. You think of him at night. He's restless. You pull a tarot card with his energy. He posts a cryptic message that mirrors your thoughts. You meditate to release him. He shows up in your inbox. This is not obsession. This is archetypal dance. Two psyches orbiting the same truth. And while logic screams for answers, the soul just knows. It whispers, he's thinking of you too. It doesn't need a like, a message, a confirmation. Because the connection doesn't live in the phone. It lives in the field. Carl Jung warned that when we ignore this field, we lose ourselves. We cling to facts and timelines. We become spectators instead of participants in our own mystery. But the magnetic woman plays differently. She doesn't wait for proof. She is the proof. She embodies her knowing, lives her truth, and lets the energy speak louder than any words ever could. So if you felt all of this, felt him in your body, in your breath, in your dreams, in your stillness, know that it's not in vain. You are not imagining it. You are remembering it, the part of you that has always known how to read between realities, how to feel what others deny, how to trust the signs and not just the signals. This is your sacred edge, the beautiful curse of deep women. You see too much, you feel too much, but in doing so, you know what others never even notice. So I ask you now, which of these signs have echoed in your heart? Which one is already a language you speak without words? And which one will you finally begin to trust? Let me know in the comments. Your truth has power. It might just awaken someone else's.